I see something on the horizon. It's you guys. Hi, welcome back. He's Commander Cockings.
But part of you thought, on the horizon, it's 8 warp nacelles. That's what I bet that was in your brain. He's got a Foley.
Anyway, guys, welcome back to Trekyards. Today we're looking at something special.
Well, as you guys should know, is our 10th year month. And to celebrate that, we've done some lives, we've done some normal videos, and some bonus anniversary content on the Sundays on the Foley, done the Ebon Hawk, we'll do Stuart's last pick at the end of the month, and now we're doing my custom ship, the Horizon. We looked at the Foley, or at least the Dreadnought, much longer ago. The Horizon's only 5 years ago. You know, not that long, 5 years. So it's been a while. We're going to really look at it with all our fresh perspective. I've done some new renders. And because time has passed, I've got some shots of it from episodes of bits that haven't come out yet to kind of see it in action. Because it's kind of easy to, you know, I can pull screen caps now, as it were, which is kind of nice. So, yeah, let's see how things have changed. As this is no longer a new ship.
So to be clear, this is a U-designed ship with the help of Rick.
Once a lifetime amazing situation where I just emailed Rick and said, hey, we're doing this new fan film called Convergence, and I really want to include a new ship to give it some oomph. And, you know, we knew these people. Let's see, right? He said yes, as long as it wouldn't have to be like a full gig, because, you know, effort and time. So he you know, as long as I would have I submitted the basic shape, in which I kit bashed various components of the starships. Obviously, Dauntless, Prometheus, Sovereign, things. So I came up with the roughness of the design, which is obviously is close in a sense, but whatever. And then Rick took full views of that and some PDs, and he as he would on the, you know, on the shows, he sketched on top of that, redid all the shapes to match his vibe, did all the detailing to be his appropriate size, dimensions. You know, the checklist that we always say modern ships don't have. He designed a lot of those stylings, so he put them on. So when you look at Horizon, it is literally crafted. All the details, how big they are, where they're placed, is by Rick Sternbuck, who did Voyager, DS9, Prometheus, Equinox, etc. So there's a real authenticity to this, but also he added some flourishes, which are straight from Rick's brain as being a post-Nemesis design. So my basic shape, and then his everything else, and then textured by wonderful Matt Wilson years ago now, which was tremendous, doing full interiors, designed to be the first multi-year ultra long-range explorer post-Nemesis to go out past Federation boundaries and stay out for years.
She's snazzy, smart-looking ship. Definitely has that Rick Sternbach kind of Arrowhead vibe going on, which is a good evolution to the designs, you know, from Voyager and onward, like including the Prometheus and things like that.
But yeah, fair to say that does your brain sort of see things and think, that makes sense, a la Rick, you know, all the pieces the way it should be, and like, does it have that sort of oomph to it?
Obviously, yeah, for sure. Including the secondary deflector on the front there and a few other things. I do like the escape pod hatch's shape. Kind of a honeycomb thing going on. He
drew it, we did them. The joy of working with Rick. Yeah, and it's because obviously, you know, Voyager's a very well-designed ship. He added those exterior greebly panel, which are all differently shaped and differently placed, but I love the logic of them. There's the Voyager inset larger bay windows, which I think add such depth to a design, not just the Sovereign, they're all the same slit windows. I really like having those. And as you see interiors as you go by, I love that stuff. Yeah, I remember we pitched it as this very much like if Voyager had a season 8, this craft would be in that. So all the same logic of with just that little bit, you know, ahead of what they could do at the time. But yeah, she is fantastic. Let's go through the views, Stuart, and look at some special stuff. So back view, there's the same views for every ship. How'd you feel on this view?
I like it. I do like the way the engines are cantered and slanted. Interesting impulse engines. That's a good vibe. I like that.
It's a very fast-looking ship, isn't it? But not like...
Yeah.
It looks like it just sort of cuts through the air kind of ship.
Yeah. And the details on the back of those nacelles are pretty cool, too. You can see the RCS thrusters and everything. So.
Always got to make... How can the ship fly without them? Because we definitely want to take Sovereign, but do something different with them. So I loved his sort of little attention details. But of course, every nacelle on this craft is a slightly different design. So they also have slightly different functions, which is kind of fun. You know, if you do a modern show, you might just clone them. All of our nacelles are different. And in this view, and this, you know, worked really hard on this, I love the different levels of the primary saucer and then sort of the bridge dome saucer element, the way it goes back into the multi-leveled neck that kind of gets thinner but not, and it curves. It's just so well thought out shape-wise. that has an aesthetic to it. If you're just a fan, you might just have it canter back, and then but there's such a design to it that I love, and it incorporates everything so well, and it feels I love it.
There's no kind of separation, anything on it? Is there like a captain's yacht or anything?
No, this is not that sort of ship. And that's, you also didn't want to just do everything, as in, it's not that it's contrived, but if it doesn't need to separate, it shouldn't. If it doesn't need to, captain's yacht, doesn't, we have a big shuttle bay with a lot of shuttles, right? We've got a dedicated chunk of space that, like if you can carry Type 11s on your craft, they're kind of already getting near captain's yacht in some ways, because they're pretty beefy shuttles. No, it's, people have obviously asked me, can this thing split? And no, well, I guess if you wanted to refit it, you could almost make the top part separate like the NSCA Protector. Kind of literally just the top 2 layers. Bit weird, but I guess you could. But no, this is designed to be an all-in kind of ship where we need to focus all the engineering to the one goal. Versus, because you're always going to create stress points by having a separation plane. You are now 2 ships connected by some clamps, right? This is very much designed to be everything runs 100% for as long as possible in total unison and efficiency, not this, and this, right?
Mm-hmm. And what are those insets in the struts? Are those... They could be impulse engines. Yeah,
I think they're vents like on the runabout. I mean, Rick obviously pulled from his own logic. Hey, Rick put them there. I love them. That's okay. We also invented new torpedo launcher designs for the ship. You can see the aft 2 tubes. It's kind of a concertina ring rectangle thing. I don't know. Rick sketched it. We built it. So there's kind of a new thing there. And one thing I really love in this view, you can see that the escape pods on the neck have a lovely flat bit to allow for ease of escape. I like the logic there. Where would you put them? On the side where they go out? Or just, nice and flat and straightforward? So they're just flush with the hull logically. I love this saving them for that spot.
Now, is it a double shuttle bay? Like, there's the main door, and then there's 2 spotlights on an upper door, it looks like.
Yes. Yeah, we've got the dedicated clamshell large bay, which we are going to see later. I've got some shots, which is designed for the Type 11s, and it can fit the scout ship for insurrection. I believe it just about fits that. Can't remember if it fits a runabout. Probably does, but turning, right? The top bay is specifically a Type 9 or smaller bay, because fundamentally, if the big bay is filled with big ships, and you just want to hop out, to move all the crap out of the way, you might just want to jump on a small ship. Next view is a very busy view, I do understand. A lot of layers. Possibly a lack of detail at the back aft, but the way Rick sketched the plating lines, it just feels like, oh yeah, that's like an Excelsior, right? Don't think about it too much, but...
So there's smaller nacelles on the bottom. There's those nacelles on the side of the saucer as well, then? So how many in total? 8.
Yeah, it has 3 sets of warp drive warp engines, but 4 sets of warp coils. Because the under nacelle... So the primary nacelle is obviously the big, beefy, chunky bone. We'll look at this later. Those are the big ones. Underneath them connected are warp coils to allow for the warp field to be sustained. Basically warp sustainers, but supercharged. So they enhance the warp field. But they themselves, maybe you could like jury-rig them to go warp 1, but they're not designed for that, right? And then you've got the secondary ones are the ones in the saucer. Those are pretty beefy as well. Obviously Delta Flyer-esque, but new. And then you've got the small ones underneath, which again are different, and they're very different design. I hope you think those are really cool. It's fun to like say, how do you keep designing new nacelles? Well, we did it, because, that's the function.
I mean, yeah, you can see Delta Flyer, like if you kind of cover up the back part and just look at the front saucer, just that shape, it evokes the Delta Flyer for sure.
I always thought before this, I mean, they would take inspiration from that. It was a beautifully elaborate yet simple way of doing that. And how would you incorporate them into the main hull? And originally Rick just sketched the Delta Flyer, and I was like, no, it can't be that, because that's that. This is a bigger version. So he gave me, I believe, 2 basic sketches of 2 or 3 of what it could be, and I selected this one. I thought it was really nice, because I didn't want it to come out like this. These aren't meant to be those nacelles. They're meant to be the designer of this ship thought that was a cool concept. Let's build it organically in this ship, not let's just do the Delta Flyer. So it's all the same components. I mean, you can see that even the copper line, it's all there, and those look really cool when you fly past the glow. The next view, though, is from the bottom. This is the kind of the aggressive view because A, there's a lot going on, but B, it just feels kind of like sharp and mean.
Definitely a lot going on. It does feel mean and aggressive for sure. So you've got another deflector in the front there, or is that the main deflector?
Primary deflector, yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I was very keen for, again, Rick to design something new for that. So, kind of Prometheus-esque, kind of sort of Sovereign-esque, but not. You know, it's meant to be, again, the same but different.
I do like the details around your planetary sensor dome on the bottom there. They look very Romulan, actually. It's kind of got that bird motif going on. Did the Romulans help you design this ship, Sam?
Probably not. Probably not.
Oh,
but maybe I was getting secret communiques. Yeah, and even so much as, you know, little details of having that little dot in the middle, the little light. You know, worked really hard on the light rig for this. But you can see in front of that is the quantum torpedo launcher, which is a custom tube among other tubes on the main hull. Because while I've said to you many times, quantums are a bit overused a lot of the time, this made a lot of sense. But I want it to be, you know, super integrated. So the way that's hidden, it doesn't have the same aggressive stance as the E might, but is a full-fledged quantum launcher. Because the fact is, a quantum in the right situation can save the day. So they had to be included in some way.
I also do like the idea that all the separate warp nacelles, as they were, have different Bizarre Collector designs. Like the bottom ones have those slits, and then the ones on the underside of the main nacelles have like a grid pattern, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean they all can do the same stuff, but they all do slightly different stuff. Yeah, I love the slits. Those are definitely a Rick. What would go next? It's kind of based off the, you know, Rhode Island a bit, but again a bit newer. You know, again, kind of fun to have Rick designs having different nacelle types. It's not just there's the one, several. So the basic structure of this strip, as you know, is that it's designed to go for warp at the highest speed for the longest speed. Meaning whenever we do, you know, ship breakdowns, you talk about the max speed and the cruising speed. With the cruising speed is only warp 6.
And the emergency speed.
And the emergency speed, exactly. But if you have to slow down at a certain point, then every minute you're not at that full warp, an enemy force could catch up on you, example. So if you're able to make the cruising speed warp 9.3, say, rather than warp 7, and then maintain that speed for 40 hours versus 7, where you've travelled an insanely longer distance, and you're not actually doing it faster, you're just doing it at a ratio that just works better. And if this thing can spend literally 4 days at warp 9.6, which is absolutely unheard of, right? You can just traverse those distances between planets in a way that's kind of crazy. Where Slipstream, of course, makes it all a bit redundant because it just can pop speed in seconds. But at the time, you know, I always pictured this thing being, you know, chased by a Negvar, and it's like, oh no, it's gaining on a, you know, it's matching speed, but you know, only 7 hours in it slows down, or we're still going 12 more hours. Well, we've just absolutely blown past it. It's got to lower its whatever. So the rationale is that each of the warp coils work to share the load of at warp, so they're all always used. They all share the load of creating a really stable warp bubble to allow it to all be less stressed, and or the redundancy that if any given coil goes offline, gets burned out, gets damaged, they can all jump in and back it up. Because the worst thing to do while being lost in deep space is have no warp engines. So this thing has huge redundancy and the ability to have a really tight warp profile, so you can go insane distances in the normal time. So let's do, for this very special anniversary, bam, a much more up-to-date and interesting scale chart in not time order, of course, but in size order to give you some context. The Voyager A, you know, this is my guesstimate size based on you know, looking at the show. So I'll be off by a few meters, but we know it's about this size. Second biggest, kind of cool. Your thoughts?
It's the sexiest profile out of all three, so I do think so. I really like the way this thing looks from the side. And yeah, size-wise, I mean, that's what I was kind of vibing with, just being a little bit smaller than the Enterprise E.
Well, we designed everything in scale, so therefore it should feel in scale, right? That's kind of the point. Although the nacelle, the primary nacelles, are really beefy for the size of the ship. But they don't feel out of proportion. But when you compare it to the E, they're actually chunkier than the E. But it's a warp ship, that makes sense, right? You sense the form follows function of it.
Oh, it looks really good. I do like those secondary nacelles on the bottom, for sure.
Yeah, the whole thing tucks in nicely, but not too sleek.
Yeah.
And it is funny though comparing to other, of the newer canon designs. There's a certain extra thought outness here. It kind of flows in a way because it is both a vaguest of a kit bash, but also entirely original, but also carefully designed. It's kind of all of them, which honestly is what you do in the show, right? If if you're on Voyager and you said it has to be this, but this, inspiration is going to come, right?
Yeah, like I said, the profile compared to the other ones is pretty impressive. I figured it would be very similar to the Prometheus, but you can see it's not. The Prometheus never really impressed me from the side. This one has like it flows very nicely, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's Dauntless was part of the inspiration, but obviously don't do the slipstream, so that belly vibe. None of the things it's based on or with it has the dramaticness of, hence it's its own iteration. And it does, not to complain too much, but it does point out how sort of lacking the Voyager A is of windows and cause I had to light it a different way because there are no lights on the secondary hull. And it's like, oh, I think the Prometheus ones just aren't on. Yeah, the texture's off. But yeah, it's all mine's neatly balanced.
Very nice.
I always think to myself, oh, they're just Enterprise Enix cells.
They're not, though.
But they're not at all.
Yeah, I mean, at first glance, they look at it, but yeah, I could tell they weren't.
Because I remember I pulled, because Prometheus has those back bits, right? That was inspiration from that. But again, I said, take everything, Rick, and just do it differently. And yes, everything is, I can see the logic, but it is its own thing. Gosh, yeah. The top view. It's a bit weirder on the top, in fairness. Very, very different two views. How does it factor again here? Although how cool is that to see all these new ships together, updated chart?
Yeah, that's really cool. Looks good again. It doesn't from the side. It almost feels like the nacelles should be bigger when you see it from the top. But wow, that's really kind of strange. But I do like the way this lines up in this. It looks really good here.
I mean, it fits in without a second thought, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, and I really like the way it's textured. Because it's so the E,
Yeah.
but with sort of style points aren't just John Eves.
Yeah.
Right? Again, Rick did a beautiful job. Because the Voyager A is whatever its lines are. Prometheus is definitely its own unique thing. Voyager's blue. Ducko. No, it's great. And some people say there's too many glowy things. But, I mean, they're right where they need to be. Right? I mean, there's not that many things about it.
The only thing looking at this view that I personally might have changed is sliding the struts back a little bit, but and try to elongate the ship a little bit. More like the Enterprise E where they're placed, but not quite that far back.
Yeah, we tried a few variations, and this is where I lined up with. The original version 0.1 had it be underslung. Which went through a few iterations, and then I decided I didn't like that because it was too Titan. Not literally, but like I was trying not to do the overslung or the normal because it felt too classic. But I was like, no, I can't go through. I've got to commit to make it this way, and it's so much better for it. It gives that beautiful sweep that underslung wouldn't have had. And I was very careful to sort of make the doors a bit more realistic on the shuttle bay. You look at the E, the swing factor of those doors, it's like, how far are they travelling? My God. And in Prometheus, same thing. They stretch out so illogically. Mine are quite nice in how they go. I've done the animation, it does work. Gentle. It's a gentle shuttle bay.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Titans right now, and it's just the Constitution class, pretty much. The shuttle bay, anyway. The doors.
But let's look at a few celebratory shots. And this is from various things that have not come out, so yay, some exclusives. Here is it in dry dock, with it being before it was launched.
Perfect. Like the end of Nemesis.
Or the start of the next adventure.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing sort of in contrast, like it is a very flat ship. How do you think that feels? Because it is kind of pancakey in a way.
Works fine. Perfect.
One thing that I was very keen on, and I know Rick, we worked a bit on, was have just giant meaty RCS thrusters. Because those are giant relative to other ships, but this thing wanted to be maneuverable, so we had some pretty some chunky boys there. Next view is it from the Prodigy film, which has come out of it in the fleet. This is a fun shot. Now the space is not that big, it's just further away, In fact, the Trekyards is bigger in a lot of ways because it's just oddly scaled. It's actually a bigger ship. But I just wanted to see it in context, design-wise. Yeah, looks way more advanced, doesn't it? Way more advanced.
Much smaller windows, too.
Yeah. It is a smaller ship, like I say. And you get the hint of the under colour of the nacelles. Because most of the time, it's just sort of the 2, or by the 4. But you kind of get that pop of colour. Next view, or next shot, is it, it does sometimes get in trouble, And again, different views. How does this feel?
Cinematic.
Definitely registers E-like in this. I don't know why.
There was a shot very similar to this in Prometheus, or in Prodigy, of the Enterprise, well, a Sovereign class kind of vibe too, so.
Yeah. Well, this was made way before. It would stand toe-to-toe with this thing quite well. Not that it's designed to, but it's fun to see the two sort of sleeker aesthetics. There's lovely curved nacelles. You get the nice blue glow whenever. Next bit of action, it is... Yeah, it also explores. I don't think this is its best view, because again, the flatness in some views, it kind of, like I said, pancakes it. Or do you think, again, or do you think it works enough here? Like,
it works enough. It doesn't look bad. I mean, the Foley class has some views that I just don't like.
But with this sort of shot, I love doing a separate window pass, that those things pop in the dark, and it just kind of gives it a bit of life. That's always fun. But let's look at some details and some weird views. So here is an under, gives you a nicer view of the deflector, which is definitely sort of E-inspired-ish, but not. It's the same thing.
But you corrected the color and made it blue, like it should be. Can't stand the yellow. Yeah, it's kind of an odd one because it's got the secondary, or the main deflector is so far forward compared to other ships, which usually have like a secondary hull. This is quite interesting. And I do like the round, even though you could make any kind of funky shape in there. The round just kind of looks great.
Yeah, it's a juxtaposing shape. So it makes your brain think there's a reason for it versus just a Voyager style or filling the space. It was a good idea, and we could have gone the Dauntless style slits, right? But that would have been too much. That this is its own thing. Yeah, I love the very distinct layers of the ship, which is kind of unusual to have such distinct segments, but curved just enough. Again, really well balanced. And you can see the red quantum tube just saying hello right at the bottom. Yeah. Next view is a close with the deflector. Again, love the detail. It is reminiscent of, I believe, the Nova, but again, its own thing with some little groovies either side. Yeah, just fun details.
Are those weapon ports up there on like the C deck?
Yes, which is the next shot we'll get to in a second, although it looks like the lights aren't lit. Oh, you can't see them, but we'll get into that in a second. The only thing I don't like in this is again just structurally, is that the not 10 forward, the windows are very slanted, and it annoys me slightly. It fits with the hull, but as a functional window, it would be annoying.
Well, most windows in Star Trek are functionally annoying.
Yeah, I mean, good company, right? They fit, but will be a mild thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next view focuses on the bridge, and yeah, for some reason the lights aren't lit, but yes, there's a cutout to the left, as you say, and those are where the photon torpedoes are located. There's 2 tubes on their side, on both, with some high-end sensor probe scanning. Each one is dedicated, locking on sensors. So you got the aft dual launcher. I remember there's 2. There's 2 upper, 2 lower aft. These 2 C deck launchers each side, and the quantum at the middle. So very unusual place to put them, but Rick put them there, so I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I would never put them there, but I actually love they're there. And it's crazy to see those things fire, because they're like right on the hull. But yeah, I really like it. It's a really fun, interesting idea. And I do recall the bridge dome, the physical bridge set, and the brief room fits in there 1-to-1. I was very specific on that. Even had my modeler, I believe, if I recall, change one wall on the captain's ready room to a different angle so it'd fit the outside the hull. Yeah, because I was like, there, it can't be that big. So it does all fit. I was careful on that. Next view is the back with the briefing room, which is it's just a standard E-style briefing room. But it's always fun to see the full set. And that's actually our full set, which we put in there. So I never have it for any normal shots because it's a full set. But in the film, specifically the film's built for, there's several shots one in particular where we literally zoom into it. So I needed it to be fully built out, and so I just kept that in the base model. But I never use it because, of course, it's a full 3D model with lots of lights and such. But it's super, super cool to see.
I like the greeblies at the back here too.
Yeah, I mean, those certainly feel Voyager underdeveloped. They're just sort of squares and such. But again, Rick sketched it, and that's what Voyager had. So, I mean, sometimes square greeblies are enough. If it was good enough for Voyager, it's good enough for us, right? Next view is the underside, which focuses on the warp core ejection, which has its own dedicated port. I really like those belly escape pods. But yeah, all the stuff's there. All ready to go. I love that lower sensor dome. And it's such a weird choice of colour, that green, but I love it accents everything else.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And there's a reason for the slits and the besides, I can't remember what.
Yeah, I like the look of that.
They remind me of a Cylon for some reason. Not sure why, but they got character, right? And they just and they're subtle details, like they're a different design. We could have a kit bash, but we didn't. New design each one. Next view is again even more of a close up of the deflector, but in this one particularly the torpedo launcher, which again is a custom design, I can't remember who suggested it, but having that little almost diamond detail sticking out as structure. Not sure why it's there, but I love its connective tissue, the inside and the outside of things, a really nice detail. Yeah, just lots of little details.
Yeah, that deflector area is really impressive. I like that a lot.
The same but different. And hey Rick, what do the little squares do inside of the curvature? Ask Rick, right? Ask Rick. Don't know. But let's see it in action. Next view is a shot of it firing quantums from one of the films. Yeah, and the way the blue hits the hull in this is so infectiously cool. Every angle is different, as you can see those aft nacelles, those side nacelles at the bottom. The facades are hidden, they glow by the grill, because not every angle has them, right? They're meant to be subtle. There's a reason for that, right? So they don't kind of stand out the same way. And also, if I recall, the Matt who did the light rig, there's a lot of lights in the ship to make it work. And he had just sort of pioneered a new way of doing nacelles. If you look, there's lots of little, like, from the back nacelle, there's lots of little point light vibes, so it feels more like a miniature with LEDs to glow it versus one big glow, which is very like a sovereign miniature vibe. So it's kind of got its own character as well. It's not just a lit thing. It's a, has a more of a texture, which a lot of fan designs don't have. Next is a close-up of the side nacelles. Yeah. I love them. I love how these things integrate. And that you can see inside the window on the top deck just gives such depth. So we have them too. Next view is the back. We show off the nacelles. Yeah, just really nice nacelles. I love the little. I remember he added the sketch where he had the little supports to the front, or the between the facade and the grills. There's little support lines. Just adds just a something, which I think is really cool.
Very hawk-like, like a bird almost. That with like a beak on that.
But the other views didn't show that though. That's interesting.
Nope.
It's kind of yeah. Next view is the under nacelles, which again different design. Why they have black grills? Don't know. I like them. And all those neck greeblies, or those spine greeblies, all do something. And Rick knows what. At least he sort of knows what. Yeah, I don't think we've ever fired bottom aft torpedoes. That'd be a cool shot to see it light up the hull. And again, well done to Nick, my lead model, for modelling this, because we're very close and this holds up beautifully. This is not, laying us down in terms of hull detail. Next is a close-up on the nacelles. Yep, you can see how... yeah, it's amazing how the grilling on the full set of facades is lost in some views and then it pops in other views. It's kind of a fun detail. And here is all of it a warp. So yes, all the warp coils do flare when it goes to warp. I did variate having just the main warp coils go, and it felt underwhelming, or it felt not right. So yes, all the different coils trigger, which do lead to quite a fun multi. Although you almost can never see the front coils go, because of course they're hidden by the saucer. So, or the side ones. But yeah, this is kind of fun though, because yeah, the beefiness of the nacelle really popped and it's flaring to warp. Next was the shuttle bays. See some detailing here, and yes, I have said on a couple of the ships having those side physical doors to get in and out of the ship. But yeah, how do you feel about that? Sort of, it's kind of its own unique shapes stuck into the hull, kind of, but it's its own unique module, right? So it kind of makes sense. How do you feel about this?
I like the two-tiered approach to the shuttle bay for sure.
I really wanted a big shuttle checking bay as well. Yeah, I really like the dual bay.
Really get a sense of scale for those phaser strips as well.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly. Put them next to real things, yeah. No, I always pictured, seeing like shuttles come out of that top bay and not have to worry about it. Just it still suddenly feel like a mammoth ship, even though it's not. But I think it's such, yeah. Speaking of then, here is as far as we ever got with the bay. We did see it in one small step, the bottom bay. Top bay, I had a basic version built out so it would fit, but of course I briefly lit it. It's in no way done, but it gives an indication of how deep it does go. Very deep back, the bottom bay, and of course the back door goes into another set of rooms, which of course houses more shuttles. So it is it's a significant amount of the secondary hull back bit. But how does that feel?
Perfect. Looks good. Feels TOS like almost in its design, like its colors. But definitely feels like a functional shuttle bay. I do like that.
Yeah, it's definitely a mix of E and Voyager, which of course it would be. The top being far more Voyager, bottom being far more E. You know what? That really works well. And it would be fun to develop these sets into more practical sets, because if the design is built, but I'm sure you can see some of the geometry inside is a bit blocky. There's a certain feeling to it. So if we were to build it properly and taste it properly, it'd certainly look, a lot nicer. And imagine you're walking in the set and doing some scenes in one of the bays. Would be fun. Next video is from One Small Step. There is some scale. So this is pretty ambitious for me to try at the time, but I really wanted to. So, and even the interiors in both shuttles. So again, I love sensing scale. And when the hell do you ever see that? The answer is never. But this is my big, hey, I'm back to fan films. Let's do something cool.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome.
Oh, I do remember I shoved that Type 11 right against the wall because I had to for another reason. And I was like, it's really there's not much room to park. But yeah, it can do a line of 11s. Yeah, it can fit. Yeah, it can fit some other stuff too. But it's meant to have a set of 11s. Next view though is interior. Really gives you a confusing sense of scale seeing the person inside it. So the last shot is one of my. This one for one of the longer shots. It's a really nice beauty that I did zoom in a bit to kind of not get the pancake feel, but it kind of gets more of the ship. This is more of a shot you'd see if it was a miniature, because you tend to zoom in for some miniature work. So it kind of gives a slightly different perspective, kind of puts a bit more in frame. So yeah, how does it feel? What do you think? You've kind of have a whole new breath of life for this thing, seen in full detail and in context. What do you think, Stuart?
Fantastic. It should be part of the canon. It's great. It should show up in like something in the future. It's great. It's a great design.
It would be easy to bring it to Picard or Prodigy and not think much of it. Any things you don't think work, if you had to pick on anything in particular?
The nacelle things on the side of the saucer I could do without. But other than that, I like the bottom ones.
So it's just a bit too far out of your box.
A little bit. But it's fine. It makes sense. At least it makes sense.
And it's kind of fun. Although it would be cool to have done a refit of this, which could split. You see the saucer just fly with its. Well, they're a bit small for that, but that's okay. But yeah, Horizon, you can see it in A Long Way From Home, the fan film on Power 3 fan films, and Tholian Gambit, finding some Tholians. There'll be in other films as well. In less films than you think, because I like doing other ships. But it will be in more, don't worry. We will see Part 3 emission out with Keeley and Reed and me, little old Davis. So you'll see it do some cool things.
Well, guys, comment down below what you thought about this amazing design, and make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, click notification bell icon, do all the things, and come back and check out other content, because we got a lot. Like we said, this is one of our 10-year anniversary specials. We are going to be doing more, and also we've got 10 years of back catalog, so go check it out.
Yes, support us as well if you can to see more of this content and just more general fun content on Trek and non-Trek, because there is non-Trek too, Stuart. Oh my god. Support us on Patreon if you can. It is monthly and lets us do what we do here. Or join the channel. It's like Patreon, but not on Patreon. Shocking. And that is via the join button on YouTube. Or you can do the one-time helpful donations via super chatting if you want interactive bit of fun. Or if you love the ship, you want to super thanks. That's a button as well. Just thanks via the super thanks, that's one time, or you can PayPal trekyards@hotmail.com or buy a shirt or other such down below. It all helps us do this and other cool things. So if you can support, please do, and thank you in advance.
That's right. So until next time, as I said at the beginning of this, he's Commander Cockings.
He is Captain Foley.
There we go. We got it. So we'll see you guys soon. Thank you guys for watching. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.